Here's the 30-second lesson on what legends know. Never practice nunchucks in a crowded room. Never eat chole before a road trip. Always take your shirt off before you iron it. Don't take a call near a swimming pool. And don't forget, saving is not investing. Legends don't just save, they invest in mutual funds. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
A parliament session is on, the monsoon session, but as we know, a budget's been presented and most of the discussion and debate will be about the budget. So budget was presented last week and now the opening moves have been made as usual by the opposition, by Rahul Gandhi. The difference this time is that for the first time after 10 years, the opposition has a formal leader of the opposition. And Rahul Gandhi today spoke out. It was about a 30-minute speech in which he made some interesting points. Interesting points because some of these cement the line that he had taken by way of the opposition's approach towards this government as the first session for over the president's speech to both houses began. And now he's taking those forward, plus he's adding some new elements. So it's a significant speech. Once again, we take no view on what is right, what is wrong. We simplify these for you and we pick some of the takeaways, the important takeaways and pointers, and we shall do that also when we have important speeches from the treasury benches, particularly from the Prime Minister. That is the pleasure of there being a functioning parliament and a real parliament session. We are blessed to have it. So what is Rahul Gandhi saying today? In that about 30-minute speech, if I take out all the interruptions there, it's about 44 minutes. But if I take out all the interruptions, the tic-tac between him and the speaker, Om Birla, then it's about just over 30 minutes. So what's he saying? So I'm taking out six points from this. Number one, he has stayed on with the approach of using Hinduism to attack the BJP's Hindutva. In the earlier speech, in the first session, he had done it more directly. This time he's done it more indirectly. And I will take you to that. And once again, he's used Hinduism or stories from Hinduism or Hindu tradition from Hinduism and Hindu scriptures to attack the BJP. That's like playing the game of jiu-jitsu when you use your opponent's strengths against them. So that's one. Number two, he has stayed with the theme of fear. Fear meaning accusing Modi government of striking fear in the hearts of those, not just those who don't like them, their opponents, but also striking fears in the hearts of their own. That, in a way, is a step forward in the Darao approach that Rahul Gandhi had taken earlier. Don't be scared, don't scare anybody. That was the approach. This time, he's tried to bring in the BJP insiders as well, suggesting that they are also fearful. Number three, he has stuck with the theme of crony capitalism. He's taken it a little further, that is Ambani Adani or A1, A2 as he called them. I will, as we go forward, I'll explain to you how Ambani Adani became A1, A2. Then caste census. That's also an ongoing theme. He's talked about this in the past. The Congress manifesto, the India Alliance, India Bloc, they have all promised the caste census. And he's talked about it again this time. Then two new things have come in this time, and these are very significant. One is the deep state. He's used the expression deep state for the first time, and I don't think anybody significant in Indian politics, Indian political debate, has used this term deep state. Now, deep state is a term that we use very often, say talking about Pakistan, that Pakistan may have an elected government, it may have a judiciary, whatever, but there's a deep state. And what the deep state wishes happens. That's with Pakistan, but it isn't just Pakistan, which is, all democracies are flawed, but that's a greatly flawed partial democracy. But if you look at even a democracy like the US, again a flawed democracy, but not quite as flawed as Pakistan, even there it is Donald Trump and Donald Trump's supporters who keep talking of a deep state. So deep state is very much a part of the debate in some democracies and democracies as diverse and as distant as Pakistan next door to us, to America, as far as a democracy can be, right? Rahul Gandhi this time has used the expression deep state for the agencies, that is CBI, ED, Income Tax Department, etc., under the BJP. The next point, the sixth highlight that I pick up, and the next point is also a new point. For the first time, he's made a pitch for the middle class. Because so far, we have seen Rahul Gandhi, Congress party, the opposition parties talking for the poor, talking for the farmer, talking for the tribal, the Dalit, other backward castes, the underdog, but never really for the middle class. Definitely not in a structured way. So, four existing themes: Hinduism, crony capitalism, fear and caste census, and two new ones, deep state and middle class. So how does he get to these points? Let's go step by step. So first of all, and we have to mix these two steps. First of all, he says in our state of Haryana, in ancient times, I think he said thousands of years ago, there was a big battle or a big war, and that was Mahabharat. In Mahabharat, there was something called Chakravyuh, and Chakravyuh is where Abhimanyu was trapped. And he says Chakravyuh consisted of thousands of people, lots of people, but in the innermost circle, where Abhimanyu was trapped and where he was killed by deceit, etc. That story almost everybody knows in India, the story of Abhimanyu. There, in that innermost circle, there were six people. These six people were Duryodhan, Dronacharya, Shakuni, Kritavarma, Karan, Ashwathama, and Shakuni. So these six people got together, all six Kauravas, by the way. These bad guys, really bad guys, evil guys in Mahabharata and in our tradition. These six got together, they had trapped Abhimanyu there and they killed him. He says that he was researching and found that Chakravyuh is also called as Padmavyu. So it was in the shape of lotus, and lotus is also the symbol of the BJP, and Prime Minister Modi carries it on his chest, the symbol of his party on his chest. The implication is that Modi government has now set up a Padmavyu or a Chakravyuh for the people of India, for the downtrodden, the poor, the tribals, the Dalits, the other backward castes. However, this time he makes a difference. He says this time also the middle class is in that Chakravyuh. They are also caught in the Chakravyuh. And then he also tells you the six people, the six really bad guys who are inside, who are in the innermost ring of this Chakravyuh. So just like the six Kauravas in Mahabharata, that is Duryodhan, Dronacharya, Kritavarma, Karan, Ashwathama, Shakuni. In this case, the six people, it says, are Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, and then he says Ambani and Adani. At which point, so these are the six people, he says, who are this inner circle, who are the new Kauravas in his imagination or in his imagery. This is a political imagery, right? At this point, the speaker objects and he says that the deputy leader of your own party has committed in writing that those who are not present in the house should not be mentioned. So Rahul Gandhi then says, all right, if you say so, I will not mention them, but how do I refer to them? So this tic-tac goes on for some time. And then he says, all right, let me just say Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Amit Shah, Mohan Bhagwat, Ajit Doval, A1 and A2, right? So this goes on like that. By that time, the message is conveyed. He also says that if you want me to take out these names, I will take out these names. So he engages with the speaker on that, even as treasury benches protest against him. Now that said, he says, you BJP people, you call yourselves Hindu, but you don't know Hinduism. Because in Hinduism, there is also the concept of Shivji ki baraat. I'll tell you a little bit more about Shivji ki baraat in conclusion of this episode. So please hang on, and that's got something to do with Bollywood going right back to 1955. And while we talk of Shivji ki Baraat as a political metaphor, I will also tell you more about it, something more interesting and maybe a little bit fun towards the conclusion of this episode. So stay with me, a hint that one story will involve India's most famous newspaper proprietor, media baron of all times, and the other story will involve one of our favorite, or probably our most favorite male film star of all times, that's Devaran. So stay on with me. Let me get back to serious politics. Now, he says that you BJP people claim to be Hindus, but you don't know Hinduism, because in Hinduism there is a concept of Shivji ki Baraat. Because Shivji ki Baraat is not afraid of anything. Shivji ki Baraat is there to conquer fear. And it is that Shivji ki Baraat that will break through this Chakravyuh, that will destroy this Chakravyuh. So once again, he's setting Hinduism versus Hindutva. He is drawing from Hindu tradition like he had done in the earlier session with Shivji in Abhay Mudra, saying, fear nothing. Now he's drawing another metaphor from Lord Shiva's tradition to say that it's Shivji ki Baraat, which is fearless, which is bindas, which is mast, which will go and take on any threat and destroy it. And when he starts sermonizing the BJP on Hinduism, he says, Hinsa, Nafrat or Chakravyuh. Ye Hindu dharm nahi hai. That is hatred, violence and Chakravyuh. These are not elements of Hinduism. And that's where he talks about fear. He says everybody is fearful. Everybody is fearful. It's not just that the people opposed to the BJP are fearful, even people inside the BJP are fearful. And that's where he takes a crack at the defense minister. He says within the BJP, only one man can dream of being prime minister. No other can dream of being prime minister. If the Raksha Mantri dreams of becoming prime minister, he'll be fearful about it. I was half expecting Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh to get up and interrupt or intervene at this point, but he did not do so. He, however, spoke a little bit later on a different point, that is Agnipath. And he also promised a full debate on Agnipath. That, I would say, was a gain from that 40 minutes of proceedings. For Rahul Gandhi to say that even Rajnath Singh will be fearful of even dreaming of becoming prime minister, I thought was a significant broadside that he fired. That said, fear in Hinduism out of the way, we come to crony capitalism, point 3. So I told you, when he spoke of Chakravyuh is where he talked of fear and deceit. Chakravyuh is where he talked of Lord Shiva's power, the power of Lord Shiva's Baraat to conquer that fear and deceit. Chakravyuh is where he drew the crony capitalism point from. So although the speaker objected to his using Ambani and Adani, he said A1 and A2, he kept on saying A1 and A2 sort of incorrigibly, and he said that all of the country's capital has been handed over to monopolies, to two families. So there is a great concentration of capital with these two families, which is not good. This is an unprecedented and unacceptable concentration of financial power. Now, when he talks of Chakravyuh, so who's the Abhimanyu in the Chakravyuh? So he says, in this country, the youth, the backward people, Dalits, tribals, they are Abhimanyu. And they are now encircled by this, he doesn't say so, but by implication, these really bad guys who are out to destroy them. This is not Hinduism, he says. Hinduism, the elements of Hinduism are not violence, not hatred, and not a Chakravyuh. Hinsa, Nafrat, Chakravyuh, ye nahi hai. In fact, he says in Hinduism, there is a struggle against this Chakravyuh now. And then he says, you claim to be Hindus. I'm not even sure you understand Hinduism, because in Hinduism, there is a concept of Shivji ki Baraat. He says Shivji ki Baraat Chakravyuh ka jawab hai, which means Shivji ki Baraat is the counter to this Chakravyuh. And again, he takes it a bit further politically. He says in his Chakravyuh, you have Abhimanyu isolated, right? All others can't come in. But in Shivji ki Baraat, everybody can come in. And he says that is the essence of Hinduism. That is the essence of all religions. He says, he quotes Guru Nanak. He says, in a gurdwara, in a langar for seva, anybody can come in, anybody can go in a mosque, anybody can go in a church or a Buddhist sangha. Similarly, Hinduism is inclusive. Look at Shivji ki baraat. Anybody, all kinds of people join that baraat. It is these people, the power of these very diverse people who cannot be defeated by any force. In fact, when he's taunting the BJP by saying आप अपने को हिंदू कहते हो, चक्रव्यूह शिवजी की बारात को हरा ही नहीं सकता, Hinduism, fair, crony capitalism out of the way, we come to caste census. So once again, because he keeps on saying the abiding theme is that too many of people in India being left out, so he lifts an enlarged picture of the halwa ceremony in the finance ministry, where the finance minister and the top secretaries participate. That's a tradition. A couple of days before the budget presentation, halwa is cooked and it's distributed in the finance ministry. The picture always has the finance minister and the key secretaries and the key aides. And he says, if you look at this picture, you don't find anybody of a lower caste or any of the pichhda caste, lower caste, tribal, etc., etc. This is objected to by the speaker, who says that we had agreed that you will not be lifting up and showing any pictures or posters. So he puts it aside. There's another tic-tac with the speaker over this. And then he says that we have got the names of the 20 key people involved in making of the budget. Those people have one person from among the OBCs and one from among the minorities. None from scheduled caste, scheduled tribals, but in any case, only 2 out of 20. This is what needs to be changed, and that's where he brings in his idea of the caste census. That's an ongoing theme, and then he says caste census is something that we promise you we will get passed through this house. Now, I'm a little bit confused. Did he mean this house as in this parliament during its 5-year term, or in this house he means when he and his alliance have the majority to get this done? That wasn't clear, but he said that we'll get the caste census done through this house. He also says that we'll have a legal guarantee for MSP also passed in this house. In fact, when the whole halwa story comes, you can see Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman with her palm on her forehead like this. In fact, Rahul Gandhi says, ये हिंदुस्तान का हलवा बट रहा है और इसको 20 लोग खा रहे हैं. That Hindustan's halwa, India's halwa is being distributed and only 20 people are having it, of which only one is OBC, only one is from the minorities, all the others by implication are upper caste Hindus. That said, he talks of the deep state because he says that people encircling the bad guys, encircling Abhimanyu under the BJP also include the deep state. I think that's the reason he's added Amit Shah's name to the 6 people who he says now are in the innermost ring of the modern day Chakravyuh. Then he comes to his next new point. That is the middle class. Now, it's been a long time since I've seen the Congress party make a pitch for the middle class. They won in 2009 because a lot in the middle class voted for them, mainly because they had given the country growth and stability for quite some time, but they never sent a thank you note to the middle class after that. And somehow the Congress party has shied away from all middle class issues. This time, however, this is a new beginning that Rahul Gandhi has made, and that's why it's a very interesting takeaway for politics going ahead. He says, for example, the biggest issue for young people today is paper leaks. In last 10 years, he says there have been 70 paper leaks, and we can give the list. He says this year's budget has had the lowest allocation for education as a percentage of GDP. He brings in the Agniveer issue, and then he says, this is the middle class that followed you. This is the middle class that is so loyal to you. He said during COVID, you said you asked the middle class to come out, thali bajao. The middle class came out and they thali bajao, right? You told the middle class to light up their mobile phones, to light up the skies. They all came out and did that. That is how much the middle class followed you. What have you done? You've put this middle class as Abhimanyu in the same Chakravyuh, and you've stabbed it from the front and from behind. Now, how does this front and behind thing works? He says you took away indexation. That's a stab in the back. You, at the same time, increased long-term capital gains. That's a stab from front. Those were on instruments which were earlier subject to indexation. Then he says, overall, you've increased long-term capital gains. That's a stab in the back. And you've also increased short-term capital gains. That's a stab from the front. It's the first time I've seen the Congress party weighing in for lower taxes. So far, that wasn't the pattern, at least that wasn't the implication or understanding from what we have seen as yet. So this is a big change. And then he also said that until now, the middle class has been voting for you. Now the middle class will come to us. So he said, in all that you've done in this budget, there is a hidden benefit for us. The middle class will come to us. And that to me is the final and probably the most interesting takeaway from this budget speech. The Congress and the India bloc reaching out to the middle class, which so far they had ignored, if not with contempt, but with indifference. This outreach is a very interesting turn in national politics. Let us now see how the Modi government responds to it. That said, I promise you I'll tell you something about Shivji ki baraat. So, two stories. One story is from the history of the Indian Express. Among the many eminent editors who served Indian Express was B.G. Varghese. Ramnath Goenka, the owner then, decided not to give B.G. Varghese or George Varghese, as we call them, an extension after the completion of his first 3-year contract. So Prabhas Joshi, who was then the editor of Jansatta, he went up to Ramnath Goenka and he said, why are you not giving him an extension? वो तो बिल्कुल संत आदमी है. He's such a saintly fellow. Ramnath Goenka said, वो बिल्कुल संत है, लेकिन वो तो है सेंट जॉर्ज वर्गीज और मेरा इंडियन एक्सप्रेस है शिवजी की बारात, तो उसको कौन संभालेगा? So that was one use of the Shivji ki barat metaphor. The other one I promised you, Devanand. Now you would think, how am I driving Devanand into this? So you can fault me on many things, but not on my knowledge of the 50s and 60s Hindi film music. So 1955, film called Munimji, directed by Subodh Mukherjee. In that film, it's Devanand and Nalini Jayawant starrer. There is a song which is still sung on Shivratri across the country. Shivji Bihane Chale, right? See the stills of that song, and I will share a link with you. You can go and watch the whole thing and see the characterization of Shivji ki barat. So that I thought was a good one to share with you. It was composed by S.T. Burman, written by Sahir Ludhianvi, and sung by who else but Hemant Kumar. Today, when Shivji ki barat has emerged as a metaphor in our politics as much as Chakravyuh has done, I'm quite sure that when the Prime Minister speaks, because in his own knowledge of Hindu tradition, Hindu history, Hindu religion, spirituality, theology, all is very strong, I'm sure he will also engage on these issues in his own way, and that will be another very interesting speech, and we'll bring you the details and our understanding and takeaways when that takes place.